coming to show the Australian people how the game is really played.
For the first time on Australian Survivor, they will be playing with a member of their own family.
Playing Survivor with your spouse is a very dangerous idea. But the good thing is if one of us wins, we both win.
As brothers playing in the game, we've got this bond that's unbreakable.
I love my sister so much, but out here, you're going to have to take out your loved one at some stage.
If she gets voted out, it's going to rip my heart in two. Australia's going to see the big man cry.
Survivor has always been an individual game, but this season, that's all about to change. All about to change. It's all about to change.
I have a secret weapon. My baby girl Nina, y'all better look out, because I taught her well.
Will blood prove to be thicker than water? Or will the deepest bonds be broken?
What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Survivor Now podcast. And today we have the whole crew with us. You know me, Randy, and then we've got Will, we've got Abraham, and we've got Dylan. Gentlemen, how are we doing today?
Good day. Good day of Survivor.
Doing great.
Yeah, I'm doing great. Yeah.
I have to, before we get into episode 3 breakdown, I've been joined by Abraham to talk about the first 2. I got to get your guys' thoughts on the first, what you think about the first week. I'll go to Dylan first. What do you think about the first week of Australian Survivor Blood versus Water?
Dude, it's been freaking awesome. These people came to play and they're playing hard. You love to see it. And you love to see some of the flame outs too. It's like great television.
Are you a Chrissy fan? I was thinking that. I'm like, I feel like
yeah. Chrissy's the new Tiffany for me. I'm obsessed. With literally my favorite. My favorite.
Abraham, if you didn't know, Dylan was rooting for Heather and Tiffany in your season.
What?
Tiffany's my favorite. I rooted for you too. I did. But I love Tiffany. Tiffany's my favorite.
I was rooting for it right out the gate. I was rooting for it too.
Yeah, he had your back, Abraham, until you went out there. We lost Dylan. He'll come back. All right. And Will, what do you think so far of season 3?
It's been amazing. I've never seen any foreign version of any reality TV show. But I had such high hopes and I heard so many good things about Australian Survivor and it has not disappointed. It's been great. I mean, I love the longer episodes. I feel like, a huge cast as well. Just fantastic.
It's been exciting. So let's get into this. Because I know we're going to lose Abraham here in a little bit, but every moment we can get of Abraham is perfect and it adds on to it. So let's start off. We start with the Water Tribe. They come back happy after voting off Brianna, which, hurt me. Congratulations, Will and Dylan. You guys are still in it with your winner picks, but some Survivor expert I am and everything. But they come back and basically we get this moment. The first thing that comes to mind, and you guys can say something else if you remember something here that happened when they came back. But King Khan is right away. He's like, I need a number 2. And what I wanted to point out here is he goes to Mark. And Mark is the guy that he wants to talk to. Abraham, I'll go to you. What do you think about King Khan kind of running the show here on the Water Tribe?
First of all, for Mark is great because now you don't look like the person running anything. Anybody that can stand behind anybody in the game of Survivor is the best place to be, behind somebody. So
yeah,
if he puts his Khan out front, it always looks like Khan is doing stuff and he's just following. Now, that does run in course because as you saw in season 41, you could be one of those people like, well, you didn't do anything. You may get to a point where you have to do something. And Khan, he's really stepping up and doing his up front.
I think Mark, going off of what you said about Mark, I think Mark is in a fantastic position right now. Just like you said, I mean, he's a strong competitor who can kind of use, I instantly thought Khan is like his shield. That's exactly what I thought.
That's
Will, do you have Will, do you have anything to add on to to Khan here, kind of taking the king role.
Yeah, I was not expecting Khan to come out of the gate swinging as hard as he is, but yeah, no. And I feel like Mark will use Khan as sort of a shield with how hard that Khan has been playing. And I think Mark kind of hinted to that as well in his confessional, maybe. Yeah.
I think he mentioned it, something like that.
Like it's like one of those things that the editors did to like so later on in the season they can like reference that, like Mark's like, oh, when using a Khan as a shield, maybe. I don't know, I'm rambling.
No, I got Dylan. You got anything to add about King Khan here?
I'm obsessed with Khan. Like, Khan's a legend already, but I do think it's really smart that he's going to connect with Mark. Is his name right, Mark?
Yes.
Because I think the two of them, like they said, people won't see them as too close together, and they can kind of ride it out together and let each other know what other sides are thinking as well. So I feel like they'll both go pretty far, hopefully.
If they can stick together, I think this is a dynamic duo that can go far, just like you said. And we saw that dynamic with the Water Tribe. And while this is going on, we see the Blood Tribe, and the Blood Tribe is vibing. They're feeling good. And Sandra points out that we are like savage here in America. But she's like, the Aussies are way too nice. What do you guys think? I'll let someone jump in here about Sandra. She's ready to go. And I was wondering about this with Sandra. I'm like, Sandra is maybe a little too savage for Australian Survivor.
What? No.
I think the important part, though, is that Sandra knows she has to bite her tongue, and she does do that. She says how the tribe's been very kumbaya compared to American Survivor, and that she is just playing along with them. And I think as long as Sandra just plays along with the kumbaya and goes like, "Oh yeah, we love the Blood Tribe, we're a family," I think that's how she kind of squeaks out these first few votes to kind of get the target off her back.
Sandra played like Sandra. She set out the challenge. I was like,
I was gonna point that out. We have our first Sandra sit out of the year. I don't know. Maybe it's just me, but I'm a little nervous about Sandra here. I know we all know as soon as her name comes out of somebody's mouth, and I'm looking a little ahead here, but we get to David, throwing her name out there. I was like, Sandra, just kind of lay back. I was nervous that it was going to cost her. And honestly, we'll get to it later, but it almost did. Dylan, you got to love Sandra's game, but is she having a little bit trouble adapting, or do you think right now she's got it all under control?
I think she's doing the best she can possibly do right now. Coming in with that big of a target and squeaking by at least one tribal council is honestly impressive to me, at least. I do think she has a little bit of work to do, though, because you don't really know who her like connections are. Like, she said, she's going to kind of lay low and try to go with the tide. But with being such a well-known name, it's pretty easy for the tide to probably land on her, and then you really can't recover from that. But I think we'll see in the coming episodes if she can kind of put the hustle in to survive.
Abraham, she went right after Dave before he even threw her name out. And I kind of at the beginning, she's like, Dave is just someone that I'm not connecting with. If I remember correctly, that was like the main reason. What do you think about Dave? And this was before Dave was even saying, he called it. He's like, I bet Brianna got voted off because she can come off strong and everything, and we'll get to the reward challenge right after your comments here. But what do you think about Sandra's first target?
I'm going to say, like father, like daughter.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Just is erratic on how they approach the game, and just instead of just laying low and just kind of going with it. Dave was never a target at all. Kate was the target. They had already targeted for the weakest link in the tribe. They said, okay, Kate's brother's already been voted out. It was an easy vote. Leave Sandra out of it. But you had always one person. Well, let's get Sandra. Next thing you know, chaos erupts. And then Dave, who has basically protection, is just going off the deep end.
Yeah.
So we go back to like father, like daughter. So we know she gets it from.
Oh man. Well, that takes us. I just wanted to get that out of the way because, again, I love how Australian Survivor, they still show us like the dynamics of the camp life, which is something that US Survivor has kind of gone away from. We're seeing these random moments of just people taking baths and stuff in the river. Like, I like it. I enjoy it. It's what, Survivor's all about. It's about gameplay, but it's about, camp life as well. But let's get to this reward challenge. Excuse me. So the reward challenge, Dave is obviously emotional, and we see Dave kind of flip this switch of, all right, you voted off my daughter. It's time to play. Abraham, in your time on the show, was there ever a moment where you were like, all right, you know what? You've unlocked the nasty Abraham and I'm coming to play. Was there ever that moment for you?
Every minute before I got to the show, they was like, don't be yourself. You get on there and you try to play nice. You try to be real nice. But here's the thing. At some point, who you really are presents itself.
Yeah.
So you can, after a couple of not eating or not really sleeping or out in the bad weather, you become who you really are. Because you're grouchy. You're like, man, I really don't want to be nice to anybody today, but I have to be nice to these folks. And I don't know them, so I don't really feel bad about doing things to them. Editing shows if you're a really nice person or a really bad person. But here's the thing. You're like, okay, you know what? Today I'm going to get you.
Yeah.
And you just kind of set it up. And what you don't see, which is, like I said before, 24/7 you being filmed.
Mhm.
So somewhere in that 24/7 time frame, you are not a good person. Either you're grouchy, you don't have coffee or something, and you're just kind of hoping the camera don't catch you. That's all.
They'll catch you.
You just hoping, please, just not.
I don't know what you're talking about like once you go out there, you try to be nice instantly. I think Dylan, the moment Dylan goes out there, he'd be ready to go. I know him too well. I know.
Wow.
Sorry,
You look at the show, you be like, don't
You
do it.
got
I'd be
me.
like,
No, I love it. No, I had to poke fun at you there, but we get to the super tough challenge in the heat and everything. I mean, you have guys like Mark and Croc, they're pulling the Abraham. They've got the sandbags on their shoulders, pulling two of them at a time. Oh man,
Right.
Will, this was a fun challenge to watch. It looked terrible in the conditions, but it was fun.
I would not have survived that challenge if I was out there.
Look,
I would have died.
Them sandbags
Right.
are heavy. Don't let anybody fool you.
Yeah.
Oh man, it just like and the tribe that ended up winning, I was wondering, is this going to be a water tribe that only wins the reward challenges, which we've seen in the past? But no, Blood gets the win here. I thought it was really cool. They let David be the one to kind of pull the thing, and he even lets out a super loud yell, like, yeah, trying to get on the other tribe, get on to the other tribe and everything. And the reward that we get here, Dylan, it was an interesting reward. You get to go to the Survivor Storehouse. I thought the twist was interesting. At first, it didn't make sense to me how you got to pick someone from the other tribe, because I was like, okay, what's the point in winning it then if a person gets to go? But Dylan, cool reward here. Did you like the kind of, and we can talk, you can go into what actually was there if you want to, but did you think this was like a cool little reward here?
Yeah, I thought it was a cool reward for sure. I think it would have been a better dynamic if someone with a loved one got picked, because if they went with their loved one, you could have got like to see their connection, and then they could have like both taken the idol. And like, could they have given one person both the pieces there? Because like, if a loved one went, they could have super idoled it right away and gave it to somebody. That's what I kind of thought. That's what I was thinking. I don't know if it was allowed.
Yeah, that'd have been too easy.
I know, right? So, exactly. So I was like, I don't think they could do that. But I thought like it'd be a little cooler if like a love pair went. But I think it was cool to see the dynamic between Khan and Dave. Dave is his name.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it was cool. I wasn't surprised that he didn't give him anything. They just voted out his daughter. So I wouldn't give them anything either. I was shocked last episode that they gave them the blankets. I was like, what is wrong with you people? Like, you're on Survivor. Like, keep the shit. Like, don't. What's wrong with you? But I thought it was cool. I enjoyed it for sure.
Abraham, you got something to add?
That was good. That was good Survivor TV. I wouldn't have gave him anything either. I'd be like, no.
Exactly.
I mean,
yeah, I like that.
He has a
You just
reason.
voted out my daughter. I don't like any of the whole
Literally.
tribe.
Yeah.
He has a reason. Well, Abraham, the other dynamic before we get into like the super idol and everything, is Sandra was the one that was going, and the look on Sandra's face was pure anger. Like, she was looking around like, are you serious right now? Like, this man just lost his daughter. He's like mad about it and everything, and you're going to let him go. And Sandra, I'm sure, is thinking there's going to be an idol or an advantage or something like that. And they kind of overruled the queen here. They didn't even let her, like, Jonathan kind of helped out, and he was like, are you guys sure? Like, what do you think about this?
But that works in Sandra's favor now, because they said, look, he played an idol. You had a chance to get him out, and y'all sent him over there and he played an idol.
Yeah.
And plus, oh sorry, but what Khan said about going back to camp with nothing, I think Sandra now just didn't even have the chance. So there's no target on her back. There's no nothing. She just kind of sat out of the reward. So I don't think, I think it's kind of like a neutral, like no harm, no foul, because I guarantee you people are skeptical of there being something there. And with Sandra being so savvy as a player, they would use that against her. So I think her just kind of sitting out and not being able to go in the first place, I think is, I think worked for her.
When I saw the Super Idol, I initially thought it was just a regular idol at first, and I was like, why aren't they grabbing it? I'm like, Khan, push this, man to the ground and grab this idol. We found out it is the Super Idol, so it's two halves. So Khan gets one, and then David gets one. And I gotta be honest, Abraham, I didn't really see these two off the bat working together. I was this is not going to go well because I don't see them being some dynamic duo. And you could even tell Khan was like, you're really not going to give me anything. Like, come on, you're really not. And he was just not having it. He's like, I'm going to take this jerky and these nuts and go about my day.
that's good survival play. But here's the thing. Dave didn't come to the game of survival to play survival. Because he had a great opportunity to align with somebody. What he couldn't do was get out his own way about his daughter being voted out.
Yeah.
Had he could get out of his own way, he had the perfect scenario for the merge. I got a person over here because that idol allowed you to actually vote after. You could save somebody after the vote,
which is huge in the game of Survivor.
But since Dave was like, I'm still mad at you, I'm taking all this beef jerky and these nuts and I'm out.
I got to get someone who like actually experienced being on the show. Abraham, say like day 2, you kind of saw what was there and available. What 3 items are you grabbing for your tribe?
Well, there's fish, so you're gonna grab stuff to be able to fish with. Because here, coconuts, I don't care what nobody say. After about 2 days, you're tired of coconuts. We have fried coconuts, boiled coconuts, regular plain old coconut, and it's like, okay, and one crab. You're like, I'm tired of this. At least fish, you got variety. So you want to take the fishing gear, the beef jerky, because you don't have to worry about it being like kept refrigerated or anything. So you're thinking about long term. What can I kind of nibble off of? And the funny story behind the scene is we found one rock crab and it had 6 legs. Everybody got 1 leg. So
that was like huge for you, wasn't it?
That was the best crab I ever had in my life. So you kind of appreciate the little things when you're on the island.
Yeah. Well, I'll go to you, Dylan, for this. Adding on to the David and Khan, they talked about what story they were going to say, and they both were going to kind of throw each other under the bus. Khan was like, I'll say you got something, and David's like, yeah, I'll say that. And they both handled it completely different. David basically goes back, and I was really confused about this story that he gave. I'm like, is this really the right option, man? He said he felt something hit his foot and he thought it was an idol and it ended up being a bar of soap. And he's trying to get people to laugh and everything. And Sandra is not buying it. If you're there, Dylan, do you believe his story about he didn't get anything because Khan grabbed it before him?
No way. I think he had A for effort for sure, but his execution was definitely an F. Like he failed that so hard. And like, he just didn't convince me well. Like, I'm not even there, and I obviously see the show, but like, if you were there, like, you obviously know something's there. And then he throws Khan under the bus, and you have to realize he's playing with his sister. So now, if I'm the sister, I'm like, yo, he just threw my brother under the bus. Like, I'm done with you too. You know what I mean? Like, you have to think like other people have loved ones too. So if you mess with their loved one and you're on the tribe with them, they're obviously gonna be like, wow. And he was the only person to have any like inner tribe connection. So I feel like he could have pissed her off. We haven't really seen her at all, so I have no idea what's going on with her, but I guess we'll see.
Hey, Dylan, she's getting the Erica edit. All right, you're in.
Right? I love it. Let's go winter pet.
Her and the twins. Are they on the show?
Yeah, the twins are getting the Heather Heather edit right now. Will, and then on the other side of things, we got Khan who went back, and this shocked me. I think this was the most shocking thing from the episode. Khan goes back, well, besides tribal council, we'll get to that. But Khan goes back and he's like, look, we haven't hid anything from each other so far. So here it is. I got the idol. I got it. And Mark, I don't know. I'm shocked we didn't see more of it because Mark kind of gave a look like, Are you really like I'm supposed to be your closest ally and you didn't even consult me about this yet? Well, what do you think about this strategy from King Khan to just say, oh, here it is, I got it, it's right here?
King Khan is playing like King Kong, man, just going wild. You know, like I appreciate how ballsy he's playing, but man, I would say something like, oh, it was really a punish. Like if I was kind of be like, oh, it was really a punishment, but you know, you got this, and this. Instead, he just kind of said, okay, here's the thing. Very ballsy, and I think honestly, he's just going to become a bigger and bigger threat.
Yeah,
but we'll see how it plays out. You know.
Now keep in mind that's the second idol in Tribe.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah.
So you already
Plus an idol clue. Yeah.
It's been
Yeah.
more immunity idols played in the first 3 episodes of Survivor Australia than the first half of our season.
Yeah. And they didn't have to say a line or something to get them.
No, no astroturf, no butterflies, and no bugs.
There's more idols played here than there were in the entirety of Island of the Idols, a season named after idols.
Yeah, good point. But Abraham, who are you more worried about here? Are you more intimidated by the Queen, Sandra, or King Khan from what you've seen so far in the first week?
I'm gonna go with Sandra. Because if you look at the dynamics of it, Sandra says, look, I'm going to point the chaos in another direction away from me. She's played Survivor before, so she knows how to just manipulate that whole situation. And if you watch it how it progressed on, someone came to her and said, hey, your name is out there, and Dave did it. So that tells you right there that the people that want to play with Sandra because of who she is right now, she's really no threat.
I can't wait to get to that because I'm just sitting there when Ben goes to Sandra and I'm like, have you never watched Survivor? Like, when is telling you have an opportunity here to get her out and we're just going to keep her in the game? It always blows my mind that people are like, let's keep the threats in the game for as long as we can.
To be fair, though, Sandra is notoriously bad for being bad at challenges.
Yeah.
So I think if anything, this is lining up for her to be a merge boot. You know, someone who will make it far in the merge, and off the fact that she is just bad at challenges.
Yeah.
And so that I disagree with you, Abe, and I think that Khan is a bigger threat just because we have no idea who he is, what his game was. With Sandra, we know what she's done and how she plays. You know, a lot of super fans will know exactly what's in the Sandra rulebook and how she's going to react accordingly, and that doesn't make her as big of a threat. Which in turn could make her a bigger threat.
Khan has looked really good in challenges. I'll just throw that out there.
Yeah.
He's looked honestly like a challenge beast, which is something I didn't expect at all.
I think
Oh, go ahead, Abraham.
Croc is a good challenge. You know,
Croc had that axe. He was about to break that axe with how hard he was using that.
The whole thing what's going on now is just about timing. There is really no reason to do a lot of craziness when you have that many people still in the game.
Mm-hmm.
And
Well,
2
go ahead.
tribes.
Yeah,
So you
still
have that
2
many people in
tribes.
2 tribes. Now, had it been 3 tribes, like I felt, you would have definitely seen a lot more gameplay and a lot more stuff going on because you have less numbers to hide behind. Here, you got multiple layers to hide behind. So you can go ahead and play any way you want to play right now, as long as you don't alienate too many people.
Yeah. And we get, I thought this was the first time the edit felt weird to me. We didn't really get much between the reward, like excursion or whatever it was, and then the immunity challenge. We go right into the immunity challenge, which I thought was a really fun challenge. And it was great teamwork from Water. You didn't like it, Abraham?
Look, I felt those challenges. That's what I don't like. They look great on TV. I would have loved to go out there and be a part of that challenge. But I felt what it felt like to put my hand on the sandbags, or you're trying to pull. When they show that they're exhausted, they're really exhausted.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So it's pretty interesting to feel it and be like, I know how you feel. I need to catch them all and be like, it's gonna be okay. You get up.
How good do you think you would have done chopping down the wood? Think you would have gotten it pretty fast?
I come from a southern background. Yeah, that's not wrong. I've wielded many of axes in my day. So it's like he said, it's a matter of how you swing the axe. It's not brute strength that beats the axe. You're just gonna beat yourself out. But you saw how when the trainer went up to go there, he was still struggling. I was like, well, Croc, where you at? Get back up on that axe.
Croc got it, and like I was kind of shocked that Mark didn't get it faster than he did. I mean, he still did well and still way better than I would do. I'd be there all night and day. They'd be like, Randy is still trying to get this axe, and we're at tribal council currently. But no, it was a fun challenge. I think Water worked really well together, Dylan. They had a great like system going and all that. Nina showed out, and even Chrissy, who I said in the last episode, I still don't like Chrissy. There's something about her I don't like. I know, Dylan, I know that breaks your heart, but I don't like Chrissy. But even she had a great showing in the challenge. She was barking, 1, 2, 3. But finally, we were sending blood to tribal council. And when we got back to camp, Dylan, who did you think was going to be on the chopping block as soon as we got back to the blood camp?
I was thinking Sandra. Or Kate, because Kate was like someone else that wasn't really the best at the challenges, and she was like kind of nice and kind of quiet, and no one really connected with her. So I was thinking those two were in danger probably the most from their tribe.
I felt so bad for Kate throughout the talking process because I'm like, someone just talk to Kate, please. Like I'm like, someone just go up to her. She's like, I just want to be included. But Will, we get back, and I thought this is where David really started to go downhill. He got back, and believe me, from my experience on online Survivor, don't tell people what to do ever, because he gets back, he sets everyone around the fire while Sandra's off, doing laundry or whatever. With I thought that was funny. I thought that was fun. I don't know why, but yeah, I'm like, because just the way I always lose track of that. They're out in the wild and all that for some reason. And I'm like, she was cleaning her shoes, and I was just like, I hate the feeling of like wet shoes and stuff. So that was
hey, don't go Survivor.
I know I'm gonna have to get over it, but I was like, oh no, don't but anyways, that's besides the point. But anyways, David gets everyone around, and Sandra's off doing that, and he says, look, this is what we're gonna do. We're going to go Sandra, and we're going to go Kate, and we're going to split the votes. This wasn't the best move for him, Will, honestly.
No, if he wanted Sandra gone, I'm no Survivor expert. I'm just some random 16-year-old. I don't think getting everyone in a group huddle and saying, okay, guys, we have to do this right now. We're sticking to this plan. That's not the best way to go. I think if he really wanted to stick to that plan, he should have went to people individually and say, hey, I think I've been hearing this. We should do this for this, and this. Not getting a big bulletin board and saying, okay, guys, so welcome to my science fair project on why we should vote Sandra, and maybe put a few votes on Kate.
Really, that's how it happens too. You'd be like, really? Here's what's funny is you kind of want to just you want to slow play it, but I'm going to go back. Father like daughter.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
Yep.
Abraham, would you have taken this? How would you have taken this if he sat everyone down? He's on your tribe, and he's like, this is what we're doing. We are splitting the votes, and this is the way to go.
Well, see, I got hindsight 2020 now. So I know what it feels like. I would have kind of sat back and said, okay, Kate is the logical choice. Sandra, logical choice. I don't really have to say anything. I just got to say, okay, who do you want me to vote for? Instead of saying, hey, we're going to get Sandra out. Once he did that, the loyalist that was on the tribe of Sandra turned on him. And then in turn, he turned on somebody that didn't even turn on him.
Oh,
I was like, he just imploded.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
First off, as soon as he said Sandra's name, Dylan, it was over. I said, oh, you just did it. Have you obviously haven't seen Sandra's season. I know you're not supposed to throw out anybody's name, but the one name, if I'm ever on Survivor with Sandra, that I will never say is Sandra. I will never throw her under the bus. What did you think about David's performance here?
I was confused the whole time. Like, you're throwing out Sandra, which is like game suicide. Like, you're literally screwed at that point. Like, everyone's gonna run back to her. Then you're like, oh, like, we're gonna split on Kate because Kate doesn't have a loved one on the other side. You don't have a freaking loved one on the other side either. So, like, what is your prerogative here? Like, where are you going with this? Like, doesn't make a lot of sense to me, but whatever. But like, I just think he, like, Abraham's been saying, like, father, like daughter, like, he just kind of went crazy all of a sudden. And like there's so many people, you need to just kind of fall in the background, listen, and say, yo, what do you want me to do here? I'm gonna go with the flow. I'm gonna go with the group, and he would have been okay. But
Ben
Obviously.
goes, yeah, obviously, Ben goes to Sandra, like you said, Abraham, and he tells her, he's like, I want to keep Sandra around. I want her to take me under her wing and everything. And he kind of rallies the troops as well. He gets a lot of people and says, this is what I'm looking at. Let's go for David. Croc jumped on board. There's a few people who are like, yeah, this makes sense. But then Sam, which we'll talk a lot about Sam in Tribal Council, Sam's like, no, like David is like, from what I got, she was like, David's like one of my number one allies. Like, I don't want him to go. I trust him. So she rallied the troops and she had the numbers. And then David kind of, we see it all the time. Paranoia set in because David Abraham was like, they're having conversations that don't involve me. And he listened to Kate when Kate's like, well, no one's talking to me. And if no one's talking to you, you're the plan. He definitely let paranoia take over here, didn't he?
Paranoia is a killer in the game of survival. I mean, you think, like, when I was voted out, I didn't talk to Tiffany before we went to the vote at all. Because I said Xander and votes, biggest mistake ever in Survivor. If you vote off a male, that means the females dominate. If you vote off a female, that means the males dominate. You're never uneasy to tribe. And I said, okay, physically, I'm in the challenges. And they was like, don't talk to Tiffany. A red flag should have popped off. I said, you know what? I need to go talk to Tiffany. So,
yeah.
And then you kind of say, well, hindsight 2020, maybe I should have talked to Tiffany. So, but Dave just imploded.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
He turned his back on his best ally, and then he didn't want to back down from it. I was like, stand on that.
It was one of the worst gameplay that I've seen that I can remember. But we're going to take a quick break here, and then we're going to come out. I knew this would be a fast episode because we only have one episode to talk about, and I felt like it was a very like fast moving episode with the challenges and stuff compared to like the first two where there was so much going on. So we're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back, and we're going to talk about that very exciting and very eventful and like it hurt my head even Tribal Council. We'll be right back. Well, welcome back, everybody. As you can see, we have been to Tribal Council and we have voted off Abraham. He put up a great fight, but it's just the three of us now, the final three. But that's exactly what we're going to go into talking about here. We are talking about Blood Tribe, their first Tribal Council. Will, going into Tribal Council, we heard all the talk. There was Sam was really rallying the troops for David, and then there were some people who wanted David out and they wanted to keep Sandra. Who did you think going into Tribal Council? Who do you think was going to be the vote here?
Sandra 100%, because it's just too big of a target. I know, I think I said earlier how I think Sandra could be a late merge boot. I think but I think this is going to be the hardest tribal for her to live through. Thankfully, Dave kind of flamed out. not yet, but like, you know, he's definitely burning a lot of bridges. But I think, I definitely thought Sandra just did not have a good shot. And I know it's a generic answer, but you know, it's Sandra. Like,
yeah.
Everyone would vote her out.
Exactly. And I love, that's a perfect way to segue into my next thing, which Dylan, Tribal's going as normal. Kate is like, I think it's me tonight, which is playing to like David and Sam and everyone's advantages that she thinks it's her or whatever. So no one should really be too suspicious. But then someone makes a comment, and I believe it was Sam. And I thought this was kind of I was like, oh, you better be careful. She's like, I've heard many, options today. And this just sets David off. So I'll go to you first. It was giving me a headache. What do you think about this whole tribal?
My jaw was on the floor. I was like, why is everybody so messy this season? Like every tribal this season has just been messy for no reason whatsoever. And like, I don't know, like Dave gets all freaking in his feels and he calls her out of being like the social butterfly. And I'm like, bro, what are you doing? Like, there's no way you're going to get a vote on Sam. I know he wasn't trying to do that, but it's like, what else do you think is going to happen off of that? Like, you're trying to get votes on her now? Like, what are you doing? And then she's all shook up, understandably so, and then starts getting up and talking to everybody. And I was like, what are you guys doing? Like, it's your first tribal. Like, just breathe and like relax. But it was good TV, so I'll give it that.
It was great. Oh, go ahead, Will.
No, you go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say it was fantastic TV and it was fun to watch, but I'm just sitting there and obviously, right, we're watching at home. We aren't there in the moment, but I was like, David, of anybody you could throw under the bus, you chose Sam, which is like the last person to throw under the bus because she's been like all day, all afternoon. She's been saying like, David's like one of my closest allies. I really trust him. And you just burnt that 100%. Will, this was, in my opinion, maybe I'm over exaggerating here, but one of the worst performances by a castaway at a tribal council in a long time, at least. It was messy for David.
I think the last like bad performance at tribal was probably Varner at Game Changers.
Yeah,
but I think there is one constant though, no matter if it's Australian, US, New Zealand, Survivor is Survivor, and it is very messy. And that makes for great TV.
Yeah.
At this point, gentlemen, did you think that this was it? David was going home. We knew he had the idol, but we even see Sam get up and tell everybody, vote for David, vote for David. I still didn't think David was going home because I'm just sitting there and I'm like, okay, if you don't play your idol at this point, you are officially the worst player ever to play the game.
It would have been on brand for him though. You know?
Oh, for sure.
Could you imagine if he didn't play it, Dylan? Like, you have to, like, no one's talking to you. Sam's going to everyone, like, except for you. Like, come on.
So funny, so bad. Like, so if he didn't play it, it would have been so bad. What I wish he did was like pull it out in front of everybody and be like, well, I'm not going anywhere tonight, and to see if they would like split the votes or something crazy. But you know, like he already gave us enough entertainment. I'll give him a pass on that bad move.
I think
like, you know,
I think the only thing he could have done worse than not to play it, and I was just waiting for him to do something like this because the gameplay was just it was not good. Is for him to get up, play it, and say, "I really burnt a bridge. I'm playing this for Sam." I was waiting for that or something like to prove loyalty. But even after like this wild tribal, and Sam is furious. And I love that David was like, can we not forgive? And I'm sorry. I was like, you can't at this point. It's over. We still get a split vote. We have a few people go Kate. I wrote it down here. I believe it was definitely Ben. It was David, which made me go, I thought you wanted Sandra out. Like, what?
Exactly.
And then it was, I think I lost his name. I think it's Josh. I can't remember the other guy's name. He's the trainer. What do you think, Dylan, of where the votes went and how it ended up? So just to let you guys know, if for some reason you're listening to this and you didn't watch it, David plays his idol. Almost every vote goes for David except for 4, where 3 go on Kate, and then 1 went on Sandra. And we literally saw Sam, which was shocking as well. Sam put it on Sandra. And I was like, I for real thought she was going to go David, but she puts it on Sandra and says, if David plays an idol, I want you to go home, because the plan was he was voting Sandra, but he didn't even end up doing that. So Kate goes home. Dylan, what do you think about like how the votes got split up here?
It was like kind of crazy. Like, it makes sense to put your vote on Dave because you're going with the tribe, whatever. If he idols, you know that he's after either Sandra or Kate. So if you're one of the other people, whatever, throw your vote, you're good. Like, you don't have to worry. But I know I said it earlier, but I don't get why Dave wanted Kate to go when he's the other person without a loved one. Like, he should have went up to her and been like, hey, we're the singles now. Why don't me and you link up? Like, no one else is gonna like look out for us, and roll with it. And like the fact that he didn't even toss on to Sandra after all of that is wild to me. I don't know if we missed something where they decided, hey, just stack everything on Kate and leave Sandra be. But like, it just doesn't make a lot of sense to me. I feel like we missed something in between, or it was just literally a cluster, and they all just kind of threw votes at the end.
Yeah. And Dylan, you make a great point, because I remember in the episode, David's like, yeah, I want revenge, you know, like I'm going to fight for her, only to pick off the one person without a loved one. Because if you want to piss off people from the other tribe, you would vote out their loved ones. Not
exactly.
Yeah.
with no one. It makes no sense.
And it was just sitting there. I was cheering for David just because it was good television and everything. I'm like, yes, play your idol. Yes. And I'm thinking, we're gonna get Sandra out of the game. This is gonna be a big move. And then for that to happen, I just sat back and I was like, what a letdown. Like that was, you wanted Sandra out of the game, Will, and she's still here because you threw your vote on Kate, who has not been in the game since the get-go. She has been, almost like a third tribe, a tribe of one at times. A huge way. I know. I'm so sorry, Kate. I'm so sorry. She's been a huge supporter of the podcast and the channel too, so I feel bad, but that's how it was playing out. But Will, such a missed opportunity to get out the queen, and you don't get a lot of them.
I feel like there's a lot of context that we're going to see next episode. I feel like it's one of those things where it's like, okay, here's the end of the story. Find out how we got there next time. Okay. Because I still have no idea like what happened, like why they did what they did or what happened. It's again, voting out Kate was just such a, it's not even a dumb move because we don't know where Kate is standing if she's on an island by herself. It's just a weird move, Yeah.
I will. Well, oh, go ahead, Dylan.
No, but like I feel like what he should have done at that point, he already burnt Sam like to hell and back. Throw Sam's name down, hope everybody votes for you, and idle her out. And all these people like want Kate gone, and everyone's saying Kate isn't with anybody. That's an easy number to pick up. She's nice, she's agreeable. I feel
she
like
was just saying someone
I feel like anybody would get along good with her. Exactly. So like that's a number. Pick her up, and you already burnt the bridge with Sam. Vote for Sam. Whatever. Like bye, and then like work from there. But like playing an idol and voting out someone that the tribe already kind of wanted out doesn't benefit you at all because you're still on the bottom. You didn't rock the boat. You didn't do anything. You tanked your game and you did nothing to uplift it. You just kind of cemented yourself even further on the bottom with nowhere to run or hide. So
you know me too
I think
well,
he
Dylan.
fumbled the bag.
You read my mind because the place I was literally going is I was going to ask you, what is David's game moving forward after this? Like he doesn't have an idol. And is there any way, from what we've been able to see, is there any possible way that he could go to Sam and say, look, I got paranoid. I'm sorry. What's his game moving forward?
He needs to be like, hey, your first game, you did the same thing. You got really paranoid and freaked people out. And that's why they voted you out. I just did what you did. I'm sorry. I learned from my mistakes. And then also he has to pray that they can win a bunch of immunity challenges to a swap, because I feel like he's screwed. And he should just go out and start looking for an idol. If I were him, I'd just be in the woods, like looking, because what else are you gonna do really at this point? You pissed everybody off.
Yeah. Will, I was looking at it. I think looking at the next episode, I was like, this to me is giving me the feel of the preview and everything we saw too. I'm like, this is giving me the feel of they go back to tribal. This is going to be an easy vote out because I just don't see the way for him to really succeed moving forward in this game.
Yeah, but you never know. I mean, the only argument they could make is that his target, his threat level is so ginormous that we should take out people who are trying to use him as a shield. That's the only line of reason to keep Dave. I think Dave's dead.
Yeah. Well, we did have our first official eliminated pair. I do want to ask you guys about their gameplay just a little bit here. We lost Andy and Kate, siblings. They never really got out of the gate running. Dylan, do you have anything to say about like their gameplay? Andy came off a little too strong based off his past experience, and Kate just never got going.
Yeah, I don't think I watched Andy's season, so I didn't really know what to expect from him. But just based on the little sound bites you got, you knew he kind of came in hard last time, shook the pot, like stirred it. So you knew he was kind of gonna be in trouble. And Kate, I thought she was really rootable. Like I was not against her at all. Like I was so rooting for her to do well. She was super sweet. Like she was like a motherly vibe for the tribe. Like I think they just voted her out because Andy was gone. I feel like if Andy was still there and she had a loved one, she might have had more sway. But the way it sounds like they're playing right now, if you don't have a loved one, they want you out, not to piss off the other side. So I feel like when we get to emerge potentially, there's going to be a lot of pairs left, and that will be interesting to watch play out. But I do think for the pre-merge, it might be like a lot of pairs going, you know?
Yeah, well, she
Yeah.
did get idled out, which was an iconic way to go. So she has that to her. I want to ask you guys while I have you here, because we didn't get to talk about, like, I didn't have you guys on the cast assessment in the first two episodes of the podcast. So is you picked, you know, we posted your winner picks and you can shout them out if you want. But is there anyone in the first week of Australian Survivor that you're like, watch out? I'll just throw mine out there who I didn't realize. I really noticed it this episode. Jay for the Blood Tribe. I pay attention to him. He's Alex's I think
Brother-in-law.
yeah, brother-in-law.
I have the cast here.
He talked a little bit. He was the guy in like the Hawaiian shirt or whatever. He talked just a little bit, but something about him gave me the feeling of this guy's going to go far in this game. So do you guys have anyone from the first 3 episodes that you're like, I really think this person, now that you've been able to see him, is going to go far?
Will, you go first?
I mean, not necessarily someone. I mean, I didn't really know. I didn't have any strategy picking my winner pick. I just kind of picked the guy I thought was cool. That's
Yeah.
the way to go. But I think Nina, Sandra's daughter.
Yeah.
I think she has a good shot because I think she learned from the best, and she's not Sandra. And I think if Sandra goes pre-swap or pre-merge, I think that will give Nina time, because I feel like she's a savvy enough player to say, hey, I'm a free agent. I can easily be a third for whatever duo there is. And I think she has a great shot at least going far.
Dylan, what about you, man?
You're gonna be surprised, and this person was almost my winner pick, so I'm a little upset about it. But it's Chrissy. Dude,
Oh,
I feel like
man.
Chrissy, she has this tribe wrapped around her
Don't say
finger. Like if the first 2 episodes, like I feel like she's gonna go far. I could be wrong, and she'll go next episode, and I'll be super upset. But I feel like I don't know if they're giving her content because she's good TV, which could be like if you're a good narrator, they're gonna give you the screen time. But I just feel like she's kind of well insulated now. She's working with the big guys, kind of like how Sandra's doing on The Blood. So I feel like she's just kind of roll with it, and I feel like we'll see her go pretty far. And then also shout
go
out
ahead.
to the guy in the overalls. I don't know his name, but I
oh,
feel
it
like
was
he's gonna go really far
Jordy.
too.
Jordy.
Jordy. Okay, yeah.
Love
Two
Jordy.
completely different people, because Will's going with someone who literally grew up watching Survivor, has literally like that, her entire family, that's like their thing is Survivor. And Dylan, you're choosing Chrissy, who knows a lot less about the game than I thought. Like she said, I don't really know much about the game, but she knows, like she literally talked on this episode about, I just learned the word blindside, and I think that was a blindside.
I love it. Tribunal. I was dead. I was like, yes, you are gold. I'm obsessed with you.
I mean, I will say, Abraham and I talked about this. Sometimes people, and Scott, the guest we had yesterday, talked about it as well. He's like, sometimes people who don't know anything about the game, they do better than super fans, because super fans come in playing super hard and everything. And people who don't know anything about the game, they're just getting to know people, and they're just like, yeah, I'll be a number for you and stuff like that.
Exactly.
Well, yeah, no, I just finished Worlds Apart. I know I'm kind of late to the club. And Sharon, massive super fan, could not get her footing into the game. And I also just started Cambodia, and she didn't do too well in there.
Yeah.
And I hate to bring up like different shows, but Brett from Big Brother 20 was easily one of the most entertaining guys who played a really fantastic game, even though he knew literally jack shit about the show.
Yeah.
So, and I'd love having super fans on the show because, it's their dream, but I think there should always be a good balance, because people who don't know anything, they shake things up.
First two people eliminated. This is the last thing I'll leave with you guys. First 2 people eliminated, Andy and Brianna, are super fans. It was their dream to be on the show, and they came in playing way too hard. Brianna, I love her so much. She reminds me so much of myself, and I really hope I get a chance to talk to her.
I was gonna text you. I was like, she's literally you on Survivor.
She is literally me. I need to learn. If I ever go on it, I'm like, okay, I can't do that, because that's exactly what I will do. She was like,
I was like, that's his
Can't
winner. I was
even
like,
win
that's
it.
his winner pick too. I was like, this is perfect, like perfection.
She came in way too strong and everything. But do you guys have any expectations going into week 2 of Australian Survivor, or just give us a quick rundown of like what you're looking for?
I mean, I'm just looking. Oh, sorry. You go ahead.
No, you
Dylan.
go first. No, you
Nah,
go first.
nah, nah.
I just really hope they flesh out some more characters. There's a lot of people who I don't know their names yet, just because there's so many of them. So I feel like next week they're really going to set up some new characters. Like this week they did a good job of setting up people that were going to go home or that were going to flame out. I feel like next week it's going to set up some more long-term players that just kind of had a slow first couple of days. So we'll see that. And I do think that Dave is going to be in so much trouble. And it will be really, really interesting to see how the Water Tribe does, because I know Shay is on the bottom, but she's an idol. So I feel like if they go back, the dynamic's going to be really cool at that tribal.
Yeah, I would be shocked to see David make it through next week. I would be shocked. Will, what do you think? What should our viewers pay attention to, or what are you looking forward to in week 2?
I'm just looking for more Survivor, man. I mean, it's been so nice just watching people play fucking sloppy as shit. People are playing the game, and it's a new format, not new format, but like a giant cast. It's a different form of Survivor, even though it's the same core.
3 episodes a week.
3 episodes. Yeah. I was actually about to ask you about the schedule. That way I know, like, because, today's just been a batshit crazy day for me. Trying to scram in or squeeze in some Survivor. But I'm just looking forward to it. I think reality TV has just been my life so far, with Celebrity Big Brother coming out now, watching all the old Survivor season, now watching old Australian Survivors, and then Canadian Big Brother's coming on Paramount Plus. So
hopefully it actually does. We were told, no, but I will say with the schedule, that's a great segue into like my closing statements here. So I talked to Scott and of the Slaying the Dragon podcast. Again, thank you so much for him coming on. Go check it out. It's a great podcast. I love listening to it. I asked them how they do it, and I hate to steal from them, but they say because of the schedule, this is our first time doing Australian Survivor. A lot of us didn't even watch it until, we saw it, and I was like, hey, I'm going to do the podcast on Australian Survivor too. So because there's 3 episodes a week, and Scott says most of the time, it's weird they did Monday through Wednesday this week, because he said most of the time it's Sunday through Tuesday. I don't really know what it's looking like moving forward. I think we'll have more of an understanding next week. But I think I'm just going to do like one mega podcast, kind of like they do. They do an episode where they just talk about like the key points that happened that week. So we'll go through and talk about like the biggest points of each episode and do like a 2-hour long, like mega podcast, instead of trying to do 2 or 3, hour and a half long podcast where we're talking about, like yesterday, I talked about the yoga session in episode 2. So we'll just break down like the big moments and stuff like that. And I think that'll be the easiest thing. It's like pick a date during the week, like when's everybody available, and then get everyone on to just talk about like all 3 episodes that aired that week.
For sure.
And I think that'll be the easiest way.
Yeah, and plus it'd make it easier for me because I'm in school, and so a 2-hour episode right after school, it's just so
it'll be much easier for like everyone to schedule it and everything instead of like jumping around. But it's a learning experience. We're learning. Like I said, we just got on Zoom and everything, so we're learning this out, and we're still getting into the process and everything. But thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to go check out our Instagram page and Twitter at Survivor Now Pod on Twitter, at Survivor Now Podcast on Instagram. We got a lot of great breaking news and stuff over there. I'll kind of put it out there one more time. I got the opportunity on Monday night, very, very late. Actually, it was Tuesday morning, to sit down and interview Daisy Richardson from Survivor Australia Champions versus Contenders and Survivor Australia All-Stars. We joked about it. I said, I'm kind of in the presence of Survivor royalty. Like, she was an all-star and everything. It was a great interview. She's an amazing person. Go check that out. That's available on YouTube. And you can watch this on YouTube and listen to it on Spotify, Apple, Google Podcasts, or wherever you listen to podcasts. So Will, Dylan, I'm so happy I was able to get you on finally. And I hope you guys can come back next week and talk more Australian Survivor.
Absolutely.
All right. Have a great night, guys.
Bye.